My twin sister, who is very well loved in the family, was diagnosed with kidney failure and needed a transplant. After some tests, it turned out that my kidney was a match for hers. My whole family was pushing me to donate my kidney to her. What they didn't know was that I only had one kidney left. They strapped me to the operating table and forced me to give my kidney to her when they found out I didn't make it through the surgery. Everyone was pretty upset. When the matching results came back, everyone looked at me. "Isla, you're the only one who's a match. You'll save Grace, right?" My mom, eyes brimming with tears, grabbed my hands tightly. I took a step back, ready to speak, "Mom. But I only had one kidney before I could finish." Luke, my so-called fiancé, started yelling at me. "Isla, you've lived off Grace's health all these years, and now you're hesitating. Grace is my fraternal twin. We didn't have much in common appearance-wise." I was striking in bold while my sister was soft and delicate. Grace had always been on the thin side. Our parents said it was because I was too dominant, taking all the nutrients in the womb. So the whole family always backed her up except for Luke. During the years I was overlooked, Luke was my only source of comfort. I looked at Luke a bit dazed. I couldn't get my head around the angry guy in front of me and the one who told me he loved me. Just yesterday, when did Luke start developing feelings for Grace? There was no love left in Luke's eyes, just hatred. I couldn't understand why he was so angry with me. Could it be because I wasn't willing to give my sister a kidney? I took a quick look over at my parents. My mom looked worried about Grace. My dad held her close, glaring at me with bloodshot eyes. My father, who had always doted on my sister and been stern with me, now stared at me in disapproval. I suddenly realized, after 23 years in this world, I realized that I had never truly been loved. I shook my head and muttered, "Mom, I want to save her, but I really can't. I can't give her my kidney. Life is tough, but I still want to live. I still have so many places I want to see." Luke was pretty mad after hearing what I said. "That's enough. Isla, can you please stop being so fake? If you want to save Grace, you could always donate a kidney to her. It's just one kidney. You could be saving your own sister's life." I could hear my own breathing getting faster, and I felt a sharp pain in my chest. I looked at the man I thought was my only hope, and I felt like something had broken inside me. I took a deep breath, put on a brave face, and looked Luke in the eye. "No, I won't." As soon as I finished speaking, my usually refined father slapped me across the face. The slap sent me sprawling to the ground, my cheek swelling instantly and my head started to buzz. I could taste a little blood in my mouth. My mother was standing nearby, watching with a look of cold approval on her face. Luke shot me a dark look, then dialed a number on his phone. His voice was low, so I couldn't make out what he was saying from the occasional look he threw my way. I could tell it wasn't good, as I suspected. After finishing the call, Luke slowly walked toward me. He crouched down, looking once again like the kind and caring fiancé I used to know. Luke gently lifted my chin and touched his hand to my cheek, which was swollen. I winced involuntarily from the pain. Luke looked at me with tenderness, but his words were cold and heartless. "Isla, just be good, okay? Don't you want to get married? I've already set up the surgery. Once it's done, we'll tie the knot." I tried to pull my chin away from Luke's hand and took a couple of steps back. I suddenly felt like laughing. I got to my feet and went over to my mother, asking her one last time, really hoping she'd give me an answer. "Mom, do you agree with Luke's plan to force me onto the operating table?" My mother's eyes flashed with impatience and disgust. She quickly recovered her composure, dabbing away a few tears. "What are you talking about? You're being silly. You're my daughter too. Of course, I don't want to see you go through unnecessary pain. That's why it'd be better if you just donated your kidney to your sister." I felt like I was standing in a snowy mountain, shivering from the cold that seemed to seep into my bones. I couldn't help but laugh. I was laughing so hard that tears were streaming down my face and my cheeks felt even colder. I felt like my heart was breaking. So I closed my eyes. "I'm not going to sign the organ donation papers. If you really want me to donate my kidney to Grace, then tie me down to the operating table." Luke watched me calmly, probably thinking this was some new ploy to play. Hard to get. "All right, then we'll tie you down, Luke." And my parents didn't pressure me into signing. They were willing to accept any method of donation as long as Grace received my kidney. I closed my eyes without putting up a fight, but my hands and feet were still tied with rope. Then I was placed on the operating table. As soon as the surgical light came on, I started to cry. Even though my eyes were closed, I was confused. Why hadn't I lost consciousness yet was the anesthetic they just gave me. Working this slowly, I felt the cold blade moving across my back. As soon as the knife made contact with my back, I felt a sharp, intense pain. I couldn't help but let out a scream. My limbs were spasming uncontrollably. Oh my! I tried to curl up to try to ease the pain, but it was no use. Just as I was about to lose consciousness from the pain, I heard the doctor's voice admonishing someone. Where's the anesthetic? Please hurry and give the patient the anesthetic. I'm sorry, Dr. Hughes, but we can't. Mr. Harris specifically said there shouldn't be any anesthetic for this young lady, so even the right to anesthesia had been revoked. I bit my tongue, refusing to make another sound. I figured Luke was probably outside waiting to see me crack. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction, but I couldn't hold on much longer just before I lost consciousness. I heard the doctor's voice sounding panicked. What? She only has one kidney. Grace's heart monitor suddenly started beeping frantically. Dr. Hughes, her condition's getting worse. We need to get that kidney into her system now. Luke called in with some news. Dr. Hughes, I need you to make sure Grace's transplant is a success. No matter what it takes. Grayson clenched his jaw, glanced at me and tried to explain the situation. But Ms. Griffin, I told you to save Grace. Then the man on the other end ended the call abruptly. The line went dead and I could hear the beeps echoing like a death knell urging me to the end. I was hit by another wave of pain and lost consciousness. When I came to, I was in Grace's hospital room. At that moment, Grace's kidney transplant had been a complete success, and the room was filled with happiness. My parents were checking on Grace, who had just woken up. Luke was there too, looking refreshed, and he was watching Grace joke and chat with my parents. Not a single person remembered me, the one who lost the kidney. I let out a laugh. How have I not come to terms with the truth after all this time from the beginning? I've never been the one anyone's really cared about. I left the room and headed towards the morgue. I could sense it. My body was in one of those small cold drawers. What was going to happen to my body? Was it just going to be left in the morgue, forgotten by everyone? I didn't have to wait long to find out the answer. I figured I could stick close to Luke, my parents, or Grace. I had to stick close to them. After watching their happy family scene unfold for 3 days, a young nurse finally showed. Excuse me, could you tell me who the family of Eli is? My parents exchanged glances. Luke pretended not to have heard. Grace closed her eyes and pretended to be asleep. The nurse paused for a moment, checking her notes and said, "Am I right? This is Isla's sister's room." At that moment, Mom forced a smile and asked the nurse, "Nurse, we're all Isla's family? Did she cause some kind of trouble again?" The nurse looked at Mom with a hint of suspicion in her voice. "Trouble? It seems like you're the one causing trouble. Isla passed away 3 days ago as her family. Shouldn't you take her body already? The mortgage for body? Sure, but you can't just leave her there forever." Mom was momentarily speechless, as if doubting her own ears. She turned to her father and asked, "Did you hear what the nurse said? Am I hearing things?" The nurse handed over my death certificate and cause of death in a kind, soft voice. "Ma'am, it seems like everything's in order with your hearing." Dad and Luke got up close to Mom to read the cause of death. On my death certificate, the document stated that I had died because I had lost my only kidney. I died from pain and shock due to the loss of my kidney. Luke's face turned pale, as though he were questioning the nurse or maybe even my parents. Why did Isla only have one kidney?